Hello, everybody. So, we are going to take some time today to talk about the different objects that you will find in the universe, as well as kind of an overview of those. We will go much deeper into some of these at a later point in time, but the whole purpose of this is to help give us an idea of the scale or the size of these different objects because oftentimes what happens is in our everyday lives, we will use galaxy, universe, solar system interchangeably, and they're not. Okay. So, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at these things. What is the largest, all the way down to the smallest thing, to kind of help give us a frame of reference as we go deeper into some of these topics. Okay. So, are you ready for my fantastic drawing? Here we go. Ta-da! Sorry about the shadows. All right, so we are going to pretend that my entire sheet of paper right here would be the universe. The universe is composed of billions, trillions, billions of trillions of galaxies. Something else that you might hear is uh, something called the observable universe. And that is simply what it sounds like. It's the part of our universe that we can actually make observations about. All right. So, in our universe here, we have several different galaxies. Now, galaxies can come in lots of different shapes. My art skills being what they are, I tend to have a lot more spiral galaxies than others. Like, there's some that kind of look like sombrero hats. And there's actually one that's actually called the sombrero galaxy because it looks like a sombrero. It's kind of cool looking. I cannot draw that. I've tried and failed miserably. So, within the universe, I've got several galaxies. Now, these galaxies, and I'm going to show you an image later, that they are super close together. Actually, in fact, I'm just going to show you that image right now. Don't mind that one. Let's take a look at, you're ignoring this, and this, and this, and this. Where is it? Here it is. Okay, so this is the one that I want to show you. This is the Hubble Extreme Deep Field View. So what they did is they took, so this actually started, I'm going to diverge here for a second. So in 1995, the Hubble Space Telescope, and you guys watched a video about this, the Hubble telescope was pointed out into a dark spot of space, the size of the end of your pen, P-E-N, okay? So a tiny little area. And if you think about how tiny that area is, like if you think about if you go out on your deck or your porch or just out in the street when it's dark and you can see the stars in that little tiny space, and they just took continuous pictures over and over and over and over again, okay? And they put together this image. It was not as clear as this one that you're looking at right here on the screen, but it was called the Hubble Deep Field, and it was groundbreaking. I remember that picture, like looking at that picture. Of course, we couldn't pull it up on the internet because, long story. Anyway, and it was just mind blowing because if you look at this picture right now, you're like, oh, look at all the stars. Those are not stars. Those are billions of stars. These dots, guys, these are galaxies. Galaxies. Galaxies made of billions of stars. So you can see kind of there's like that one right there is really flat. Try to zoom in a little more. That's as far as it's going to go. Whereas this one right kind of right above it, it kind of looks like a ninja star. You've got other ones like this one that's almost looks like a, I don't know, popsicle stick. Okay. You've got all sorts of different shapes of these galaxies. Okay. So let's go back here. So all these galaxies are different shaped. And if I were to look at one section, let's say this, well, this section right here that I'm looking at, this would be called the galactic cluster. So within that space, in that quadrant of the sky, these are all the galaxies that are there. So this might be like, okay, so let's kind of break this down. So the universe, let's say, would be the entire world. Okay. It's not, but let's just say, like, we're trying to put this into something that we can relate to. So, like the globe, the entire world. Okay. The galactic cluster might be the continent. Okay. So, let's take Europe, for example. The continent of Europe has several different countries. And if we were to use a galaxy as a country, all right, within the country, there is lots of cities. And within the city, there's lots of neighborhoods. Okay? Tracking with me so far? So I've got my galactic cluster right here. Within the galaxy, okay, I've got this area right here or other areas. That would be our local group. This is going to be like your neighborhood. Now, these dots that I've drawn right here, okay, these dots are not planets. These dots are stars. And every star has at least one thing orbiting it. It could be a planet, it could be asteroids, it could be other things, okay? But every one of these dots on these galaxies is a star, which means that every one of these stars is a solar system, okay? The collective dots all together is what makes some of the, like this one right here, that's what makes them so bright, and some other things that we'll get into much later. Okay, so within the solar system, what makes something a solar system is it has at least one. Some solar systems have two. I could be wrong, but I don't think they've ever found a solar system that has three stars. Okay, so you can have a solar system with one star, or you can have a solar system that's called a binary system. Binary means, so binary, okay, means two, okay? So two stars. So now let's just pick on ours, okay? Our sun actually has another name. It's actually, the other name is Sol, okay? And this is a star. That was, I will admit, when I was a kid, like when I first made that correlation that our sun, this big bright thing that's actually blinding me in the window right now, is actually a star. That was something that was really kind of strange to me as a kid. So within our own solar system, what we have here is we have Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. These are our inner rocky planets. Now, there is a gap, and it's a pretty big gap between Mars and Jupiter. In between that large gap is a bunch of asteroids. Asteroids are remnants of the formation of the solar system. These could be early planets that never got enough stuff together. Accreted is the word, accretion. It never had enough stuff go together to make a planet, or they're remnants of planets that got busted up. Okay, as in collisions and broken up planets and a big giant disaster. All right, so we have that asteroid belt. We have our outer planets. I tried to make these somewhat bigger, but I ran out of space. So we have Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. Now, here's where things, like, for the most part, this is something that you've covered probably in elementary school. Now, moons, really quick. Moons, these are things that orbit planets. Okay? Planets Planets orbit stars. Moons orbit planets. Did you know that the Earth has two moons? Did you? Well, now you do. We'll talk more about that later. A dwarf planet. All right, Pluto. Prime, like, poster child dwarf planet. Pluto is a dwarf planet. So I'm going to put a pin in that, and we'll come back to that later. Asteroids usually are closer in a solar system, and comets. These guys come from a very special place, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. So here is kind of our order from largest to smallest. Okay, now if, like I said, if this was to be, if we were to try to put this in something that we can relate to, so the universe would be the world, galactic cluster would be the continent, okay, galaxy is going to be our country. I hope you can see this, barely. Local group, oops, I think I messed that up. Galaxy, oh yeah, local group, maybe this is your state. Yeah, solar system is going to be your city. Yeah, or your, yeah, star would be, I don't know, city hall, something like that. I'm kind of running out of things here. All right, so let's switch back to this for a second. So here's all of our terms. Now let's look at some really awesome pictures. All right, bear with me as I flip through my multi-thousand tabs here. Okay, so let's go back to this one. All right, so this image, I realize it's from Wikipedia, but I really like this picture because it looks completely different than everything else that we've looked at. And that's because the frame of reference for this is from the surface of the Earth, okay? So if you just looked up list of astronomical objects, and you could find this. So, and you can actually zoom in much better. All right, so let me zoom in. All right, I've got, actually, is this it? Nope, just kidding. Okay, so I start with the surface of the Earth. It even tells you like where the airplanes are in the telescope, how far out the Apollo missions went, where the ISS is not in school suspension, it's the International Space Station. So it's putting these things in perspective from how close or how far away they are from the sun, or from the Earth. Okay, so here's our moon, so we can see it's super close. It's even got comets in here. By the way, Ceres, that is our other moon. So the sun, there's the, oh, by the way, we have a solar probe that's orbiting the sun, getting some amazing pictures of the sun. Now, if I keep going out here, okay, I see asteroid belt. Okay, as I keep going out, you see this thing out here called the Kuiper belt? Here's Pluto. Pluto is a dwarf planet, and there's all sorts of other ones out here that are actually pretty large in comparison. And you can see where they are in reference to us. Then we start getting out here, the heliopause, the Oort cloud. If you look here, here's Voyager 1, here's Voyager 2. These are the two space probes. They were launched in 1975 or 73. Sometime between 1970 and 1978. I know that because they were launched before I was born. All right. So these are our space probes that we basically shot them off of Earth in pretty much a straight shot, and they're still going and they're still sending us out images. The New Horizons space probe went by Pluto a couple of years ago, I believe, and had some amazing pictures. And that's what led scientists to conclude that Pluto is not a full-blown planet. They had to revise the characteristics of a planet because Pluto, there's just always been like things that just don't quite fit with all the other planets. Like, it's kind of like saying that no-bake cookies are gourmet cookies from a bakery. I mean, don't get me wrong, no-bake cookies are great, but they're not the same as a chocolate chip cookie or a snickerdoodle or a peanut butter cookie, all right? So as you go, you get out to this thing right here called the Oort cloud. So what is the Oort cloud? Well, that leads us into a discussion of gravity, and we'll come back to that in another video. This Oort cloud, if we look at this image right here, it completely surrounds the solar system. Okay, so I've got my solar system in here, and out here, oh, that's the Kuiper belt. Just kidding. Where did my image go? I lost it. Here it is. So everything from this purple band, you see this purple band right here? This is the Kuiper belt. So this is where Pluto sits, and Pluto's sitting like, I don't know, right at the edge of the purple. Okay, from there over our solar system fits into. And this Kuiper belt is, again, leftover remnants from the formation of the solar system, busted up planets, all of the, we have asteroids that get kicked out of orbit that come in from the Kuiper belt. The Oort cloud is where the majority of our comets come from. We're talking really deep space. And the thing that kind of blows my mind a little bit is if you look at this image, it's a sphere, right? Look up here, cometary nuclei, not commentary like someone's talking about something, but comets, okay? The entire solar system is surrounded in a sphere by all of this space dust, space rock, space trash, not really trash, but like space sediment, okay? And it's a sphere. And you're like, what in the world is happening with this? Okay, so none of this was possible without our space telescopes, which is something that you guys are going to go into a little bit more. Okay, so let's see. Do I want to go any deeper with this? No, I do not. Okay, so that is going to, oh yeah, black holes. So black holes are things, objects within the universe, and they actually are a thing. And we actually have an image of one. A year ago, I think, year and a half ago, they have a picture of it. It's so cool looking. You're like, what is that? Like, for real, a black hole is real. I remember when science teachers used to laugh at us when we would say, well, what about black holes? And like, it's not real. Yes, it is. Like, this is kind of amazing stuff here. So there's your general overview about objects in the universe. Stay tuned. We're going to talk in another video about telescopes. How do we know some of this stuff? We're also going to go into a little bit about gravity. Okay? So, thank you for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. Have a great day. Bye.